Welcome to Beyond the Money, where we go deeper than dollars and we talk about what truly matters beyond the money. And today we have a special guest with us. We're going to be talking with Martín Gramática, and we're going to talk about a little bit about your purpose, your peace of mind, and the legacy that you've been building way beyond having that Super Bowl experience with the Buccaneers. And you know, I don't talk much about football. I don't know much about sports except for the color of the jersey and which one I think is going to win. But I do remember you, Martín. So welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
And Scott, you know all the football stats.
You know, I still can't get over the fact that she knew who you were. She knew when she heard Martín Gramática. So that's a pretty good impact for her to know.
Well, that's good. I appreciate that. Then I'm happy to be here then now.
You know, I know you get asked this all the time, but I don't know the whole story. But I know that as a young kid, you lived in Argentina.
Yes.
You moved to Florida at age 9.
Yes.
And at that moment in your life, you never saw professional football as your future.
Well, I didn't even know football existed before coming to the United States, because back then there was no internet, there was no way. I knew soccer because that's what I played a little tennis as a hobby, and that's it. I didn't know basketball existed, I didn't know baseball existed, and I didn't know football. When we landed, we went to Miami, and obviously they had Dolphins games on, and I'm like, what is this? I thought it was rugby with shoulder pads and helmets, so I had no clue that football was even a sport. And I kept playing soccer, so I never even intended to play football. I never thought I'd ever play football till my first football game I ever played was my senior year in high school. I grew up in a small town, LaBelle, near Fort Myers. But before that, it was all soccer in my mind.
You went, is it Kansas State?
Kansas State, yes, sir, yes.
And you kicked there, right?
Yes. Yes.
So that's when you really knew that, hey, I think I'm pretty good at this. I'm going to do this.
Well, not really. No. Because I was very raw. I went from kicking a soccer ball to all of a sudden, hey, can you kick a football through the uprights? And I said no to my school 3 years. I said, no, I'm a soccer player. I kept fighting the coach, kept fighting all my friends at school. I'm like, no, I'm a soccer player. I just, being stubborn. My senior year, I said, well, I'll just help the school out. It's 10 games. I'll kick the 10 games, and I'll go about my soccer career, because I wanted to be a professional soccer player since I was in the crib. That was my thing. And the thing is, in LaBelle, we never had a kicker. The kicker prior to me was an offensive lineman that kicked with her toe. So anybody that kicked soccer style, they thought we were the best kicker in the world, even though we weren't good. It was just much better than somebody kicking it with their toe. And they said, oh, this kid's going to be great. He's going to get a scholarship. He's going to go pro. And I said, well, if that's the case, let's give it a shot. And especially with soccer not being so popular here in the States at the time, I was going to have to either go overseas, go back to South America. So I wanted to stay here, stay home. So I don't regret it. It worked out pretty good.
I was going to say that. So you just kind of fell into it from your talent, from kicking.
Well, no talent. I mean, I'm not saying there's no, because
there's talent. I've seen your kicks.
Well,
there's a lot of talent.
There's a lot of work. I know there's a lot of work, but a lot of times, there's this adversity in life that springs you forward and makes you become better. For me, it was tearing my ACL. Like most people are like, my junior in college, I tore my ACL. Before that, I was a soccer player kicking a football. So I didn't have proper technique. I didn't have proper strength, because in soccer, all you did was just run and kick a soccer ball. We didn't really lift weights. Back then, it wasn't that demanding in the weight room like it is now. So that injury, which most people could say, okay, it could be career ending, or in my case, it was basically what sprung me forward to become a better kicker, because now a year worth of training, obviously I wanted to be a pro, so I said I got to work even harder now that I'm injured. So that year my body got so much stronger than it did before, because if you look at my first 2 years in college, they were average. It wasn't anything where I could say, okay, I'm going to go to the NFL. Now my last 2 in college, that's when I became better and became worthy of going to the NFL, but the first 2 weren't. But that ACL injury for me was a blessing. And most people look at me like I'm crazy, but it ended up being the reason why I feel I got better.
What year in college did you say, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going in the NFL? When did you know you wanted to do that?
Well, I from day one, I wanted to go to the NFL,
okay.
But I wasn't good enough at the beginning. Obviously, Coach Snyder, his son, Sean Snyder, were really a huge help, because Sean was a punter that actually taught me how to kick, and he was good on the technique of kicking. But after that surgery, spending a year worth of rehab and strengthening my body, my junior year, true junior, after the medically redshirting, I had my best season and ended up being the kicker of the year. So once that happened, I said, okay, I think I have a chance now.
And you Pro Bowl. What you made the Pro Bowl?
Yes, 2002, 2001. Yes.
What kind of influence when you look at your professional coaches? You had Dungy, Gruden. What kind of influence did they have?
Well, with Dungy, he's the father figure. I always tell Coach Dungy, like, you ruined my NFL because now I compared every coach to you. He's such a good person, and he's more of a role model off the field than on the field because he wanted us to be good men. He was more worried about what we did off the field than on the field. He's like, the football would take care of itself.
He's real big on family.
Big time. Yeah. So family, his kids were always there. It's all about family, all about community. The first time I did a charitable, it was with the Bucks. In college they didn't show you much, or you didn't have a lot of time to do it. But I remember Derek Brooks having his Brooks Bunch that were taking kids to Africa. Warwick Dunn, Mike Allstott. These guys had all these charities. I'm like, what is this? So then we ended up starting our own as well but they were the role models. Tony Dungy started that, and then obviously we had a bunch of leaders on that team too that led us to give back to the community more than most teams probably do.
I'm a big time Bucks fan. Any Bucks fans who hears this, they're going to be able to relate. But I have a question for you. Do you golf?
I don't. That's the one. I'm probably the only kicker in the NFL that hates golf. Like, I detest golf. And not because I'm not good. I just don't. I like more energy. So I'd rather go play pickleball, play soccer than.
Oh, so you pickleball?
I'm not good. I'm okay. My wife kicks my butt. She played college tennis, so she runs me around. That's how I stay in shape. She sits in the middle, and I run side to side.
2002, 23 years ago. I'll never forget this. Sometimes when you live your life, you have just moments. You take these pictures. And one of my moments was the Bucks went to, was it Lincoln Field in Philly?
Yes.
The Eagles, NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
You kicked off in that game.
Correct.
And when you kicked, the energy was, I think for most fans, was real high because all of the odds were against you.
Everything was against us.
And
the weather, the
0-20 in that condition, and never won at their home. In 20 games.
No, we hadn't won under 40 degrees, but we did it. We did it against Chicago the last game of the year, so that kind of threw that myth out of the window. But still, we weren't very good in the cold percentage-wise. So yeah, we had all the odds against us.
And you had the fans against you, and you were playing the last game. They were tearing that stadium down.
Correct.
I'm thinking, oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you kicked that off. I stopped breathing when you kicked that because I'm thinking, this is really an intense game. And it was, until the third quarter, I was unsure. I guess there was a moment for the team. You knew we're going to win this game. Before, I think Rondé Barber picked it off.
Well, that was a moment.
That was a moment?
When Rondé picks it off and then takes it and he does his point to his name, then we're like, okay, we're going to the Super Bowl. But before that was a tight game and it was a close game. But for us, that was our Super Bowl. I felt like the momentum after beating Philadelphia in their home with the weather, with everything, and pretty much every reporter in the country had chosen Philadelphia to win the game. I don't know if there's anybody that had chosen the Bucs. So we had everybody against us.
You kicked 2 field goals in that game.
Yes.
How much pressure was that?
That's...
How do you deal with it? When you're in a hostile environment, how do you clear your mind so you can?
Yeah, I never viewed a kick home or away. My mind was just so locked in that it didn't matter if you were home or away. The thing is, and it's crowd noise, so it's not something that you hear anything. It's just like a blur. So it's really not. I don't remember ever hearing anything specific other than just noise. But you're so locked in what you have to do, and then I'm talking to my holder, finding the spot, doing my mental stuff. So all that noise, and the only thing is, obviously, you do sometimes have better percentages at home because you're used to the wind or used to the conditions at home, so that's why you have more success. When you're only playing one game or maybe 2 games in a certain stadium, then it could be tricky. But other than that, as far as the mental part of it, you just try to lock into your...
So you never heard the fans or the crowd or anything?
Well, you hear it, but you don't hear what they're saying. So that's why I said that the hardest year to play football would probably be during the pandemic, because you would be able to hear everything because there's no crowd.
I never thought about that.
Because the opponent, because I could see there's times that you could see the guy's lips moving, and I'm sure they're not saying nice things, but you can't really tell what it is. You can't really hear it because there's so much ambient noise.
Right.
Where the pandemic, you probably could hear a pin drop. But in that case, we're like I said, we're locked into what we're doing. You just hear noise, but you don't even notice what it is. Really.
So you were dealing. I guess it would be easier to deal with a little noise, crowd noise, than having nothing in an empty stadium.
Oh, for sure, yes, yeah, for sure. Because with empty stadium, you're going to hear what the opponent's got to say, and if they throw you off, because if you're hearing them, then that means you're losing focus. When you're focused on what you have to do, nothing around you matters. You know, like you don't hear any or see any of it. Like I don't even see my opponents. I'm looking at my spot. I'm looking at my holder to be ready, and then we go. I don't even know who's rushing, who's not rushing. That's not my job. My job is to make sure it doesn't get blocked. Like I got to kick it high enough so it doesn't get blocked. So I'm not looking at anything but the goalpost, the spot, and tell my holder I'm ready, and we go. So it's.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You were the first Buccaneer to ever score points in a Super Bowl.
Is
that true?
Yeah, we kicked the field goal.
Kicked the field goal the first
sir.
time.
Yeah.
See, I told you he followed football.
The difference between kicking in a Super Bowl and that game, that NFC Championship game, was as far as stress. Was there any?
Well, I feel like there was a lot more stress, obviously, in the Super Bowl, but I think my stress was in pregame. Because it didn't really hit me. Because that year you won the championship game and then you played the week later. It wasn't that buffer week. Now they have that 2-week gap. We went straight to San Diego. From Philadelphia, we came to Tampa, grabbed our bags, and went straight to San Diego. So there was no time to really think about it. So it didn't really hit me that we were in the Super Bowl till the actual game day when we're driving the bus and I see all these flags and they're not saying Buccaneer, they're not saying Oakland. You know, they're saying Super Bowl. I'm like, okay, we're here. And then my pregame was by far the worst pregame I ever had in my life. Like, I couldn't make a kick. So that's nerves, obviously. Mm-hmm. And luckily, I was able to talk myself, saying not so nice things to myself, you know. This cannot be the day that you kick bad. And I, just kind of mentally kind of focused myself. And luckily, all the misses were in pregame, not during the game.
That's right, yes. So I had no idea of that backstory. I ran into Shelton Quarles.
Okay, yeah.
And we're on a plane. And I knew who he was right away. See, she knew she didn't know who Shelton was. But I started talking to him, and he lets me wear his ring.
Okay.
His Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, yeah.
And he asked me, I said, sure. So we're getting off the plane. I hand it back to him. He said, no, you can, we're going to do a photo. He said, no, you can carry it till we. I said, well, I'm uneasy about it.
Right.
And he looked at me, he said, look, I'm older, but I still got enough in the tank. I can catch you.
He'll catch you.
So I said, no, it's not that. I just, I felt uncomfortable. And I gave it to him. He dropped it. And we were leaving the plane where the plane turns the, what is that, the corridor off the plane?
Yeah.
There's a little gap there, just not much. But the ring starts, and I see the daylight as I'm watching the ring tumble, and he catches it.
Right before.
And I said, see, that's why I didn't want to carry it.
Yeah.
But I remember he was a big part of that Super Bowl winning. I met a few of you guys.
Oh, yeah, he was a big
part.
That
was a special time.
It was a special group, and we had a nice group of players, and that's the thing.
Which, now that leads to my next question. You have these, what would you say the biggest, what gelled, what worked that finally got you across so you was able to go to the Super Bowl? Was it just a team, a cohesiveness, or?
No, I think a combination of a few things, but the backbone and the character of that team was built by Tony Dungy, because we had the number one defense in football for years, Monty Kiffin, and that's the one thing that we were the best defense for years. We just couldn't get over the hump in the playoffs, and sadly, that's when Coach Dungy was let go. But then we have Gruden, who's an expert on the offensive side, and you have to give Gruden a lot of credit for not having the ego to change the defense and say, I want to get involved with everything. So he left Monty Kiffin and the defense alone and fixed the offense enough for us to be able to be successful. So that's where you have so many people that deserve credit, where it starts with Tony Dungy by building the backbone of the team, but also Gruden for getting us over the top, because Gruden is a great motivator. And one of the things I always say about Gruden, people look at me like I'm crazy at first, but I say his Saturday night speeches were a waste of time. And people are like, what do you mean? And I go, because they're so good that I'm ready to go, run through a wall, but I have to go to bed. We play tomorrow on Sunday. We don't play on Saturday. So I feel that his speech should be Sunday morning, so we can all be just running out of that tunnel with a ton of energy. But he's so good, such a motivator. And
he spoke from the heart. He spoke from the heart.
Yeah, no, he's fired up. Dungy, yeah, and Gruden. I mean, because Gruden's motivational speeches Saturday night were incredible. And he'd bring guys in to speak to us. Yeah, so it was a combination of everything. And obviously we had a lot of talent. Look at how many Hall of Famers that are going, the guys that are going to the Hall of Fame. We had a lot of talent on that team. The defensively, especially, we have a ton of guys going into the Hall of
I
Fame.
could see it in their eyes. You could see that when you watch it live on TV, you can see in their eyes that the fact that they wanted it was one thing, but it was like a next level.
Yeah, because we feel like we should have won more than one. With the amount of talent that we had on that team, and the players and the coaches that we had on that team, I feel like one was not enough for the type of talent that we had. So that year, it felt like we weren't going to be denied, especially when we got into the playoffs. We were just on a roll and just super, super ultra motivated.
Well, you're a father. You've got 3 kids.
I have 3 kids, yes.
What's more pressure? You have a daughter. Kicking in the Super Bowl or raising a daughter?
Raising a daughter, I'll tell you that right now. She's 13, so I'm not looking forward to her getting older. Because my oldest Nico's 19, and he's kicking at USF. He'll be a sophomore next year. And then I have a senior in high school that has committed to go to USF, so he'll be going to the kick for USF as well in December. So we'll have 2. So you think about me kicking was no stress at all compared to watching my kids do it.
Right.
But then raising a daughter multiplies that by 100 because I can just see the little guys coming in a few years, and I'm not going to be too happy about that. That's daddy's girl. So, and she's a soccer player and a flag football player. She loves football. I mean, she's our little athlete. So.
She's an athlete.
Oh, yeah. The whole family. Well, for us, sports is our life. I obviously played sports my whole life, soccer, and then obviously transitioned to football. My wife played college tennis. She played at USF, so sports has been part of her life. And, I mean, I tell her she's psycho. She works out every single day of her life. Like, we go on vacation. I remember carrying a bag one time. I feel it's heavy. She brought dumbbells. I was like, we're paying the fee to the airline. We might as well just buy weights when you get there. It's probably cheaper. But that's, for us, it was very important to have that, especially for her too, like our kids to see that, because my kids get up at 4:30 in the morning and they go train. And they asked actually one of my sons in an interview once, he's like, if my parents can do it at their age, we should be able to do it now if we want to get to our goal. So I feel like at least we were able to show them the way. Obviously, if the kids don't have it in their heart, they'll never make it. But in this case, I know my kids do have it in their heart, but also as parents, we're trying to show them the way, like the work ethic. Nobody's going to give you anything. You got to earn everything and just be accountable and be humble. And that's, for us, that's what we were more proud about our kids than anything.
Your wife's a lot like my wife. She's driven, right?
Oh, she's
and
she's a machine. Yeah,
I reminded Jackie, you may be in the same situation. I reminded her that I am the head of the household.
Right, she's the neck.
But
I've heard that before. I've heard that before.
So you've transitioned, and a lot of people can't get over this hump because when you leave something that you left, I mean, Super Bowl champion is pretty awesome. But to carry on and have a bigger purpose,
sure.
A lot of people can't accomplish that. They want to, but they can't let go of the past, and I think most of us have to deal with that from time to time. Sure. But you have found a future bigger than your past, and I guess in a way, kind of saving lives.
No, absolutely. Parenting for me was more important than the Super Bowl. That's number one, and my family. Just making sure I'm a good dad. I grew up with not the best household, so I wanted to make sure my kids didn't grow up with that type of violence and that type of abuse. So for me, that was the number one thing, to make sure my kids grew up in a loving household. That was number one.
That was your foundation to everything.
100%. Yeah, I wanted to make sure my kids they grew up with love, So that was number one. And now with our company now, I love what I'm doing because it's saving lives. And I never thought, I probably gave a lot of people heart attacks, because when I miss kicks, now I'm hopefully saving them from that with our imaging company. And I'm so excited because, and the biggest thing and the most exciting thing is my partners. Again, I have 3 amazing partners that believe in the same values that I have. Family. Their kids are always around, always involved, and community. We want to be part of our communities. We're not here just to, come and go. These are, family men that believe in our community, believe in their families. So for me, that was awesome when we were able to come together and create Clearview Imaging.
And I love that, your whole mission behind Clearview Imaging. It's more preventative. It's not just waiting to see what's going to happen to you as you get older. And of course, I'm a big confetti person, and I hear you've got a big birthday coming up this year.
I do. I never thought I'd get to that. Like, you know, when you're younger, like, oh, that's really old, and I'm like, I'm here.
It's true. 50. You think, okay, I'm halfway there. I'm at the top of that mountain. But it feels different, right? Because when you close your eyes, you're still 35, 25, whatever it is, the number-wise, age-wise for you as a person. But to make that transition, Scott mentioned before we got started, I've always been a fan of having a bigger future than your past. And then when you get you get that call, you're drafted, you go to the NFL, you win the Super Bowl, it's like, well, where do you go from there? And you had a wonderful career. Your personal life, you're family oriented. You live here, you play here. You've been in Tampa Bay for, years, 30 years now, right?
Yep. But I grew up in Florida, so yeah, LaBelle. So yeah, Florida's home. And now Tampa, yes.
But then just to find that what's next. I mean, you've got a book that's coming out.
It's out. It's been out.
Okay, and what's the name of it?
Beyond the Uprights.
Beyond the Uprights. Yeah. I love it. Gotta put that on my list to read. And but being able to do something more than just for yourself, doing it for others and being proactive. I mean, I don't know why we haven't had some sort of preventative scans for years. I know my dad died from renal cell carcinoma. And he had test after test after test, and they kept saying, "Oh, it's just a shadow. It's no big deal. It's too small. It's not a big deal." But tests like this, I think, could have made a huge difference and impact in his quality of life, and maybe even the duration of his life. So,
but that's a really good point that you're making, because if with cancer, if it's caught early, can be treated. And then, but more importantly, with good quality of life, avoiding the chemos, radiations, and obviously with heart disease, avoiding the heart attack. Because I'll tell you guys a quick story. I have a good friend of mine ended up having a heart attack, and he's one of those. I'm healthy. I feel good. I don't need to scan. I'm fine. And like, okay, I'm not going to be pushy if you're not, because some people just don't want to know. And one of my best friends, she's like a sister, doesn't want to know. And I've said, you're an idiot, because you will know. You're either going to know now and treat it, or you're going to know when it's too late. But if something's going on, you're going to know eventually. Mm-hmm. So you'd rather know sooner and take care of it than when it's too late. In Ernie's case, he ends up having a heart attack. He ended up having 4 stents, survived the heart attack, which is a miracle because it happened at a baseball game. So they had the medical staff and they had the equipment. So he was lucky to survive it. We talked, and I was seeing how he was doing. He's like, well, I want to come in and do the full body scan just to make sure everything's fine. I should have done the heart one, because with Ernie, if he would have done the heart scan or the full body, which includes the heart, he still would have needed the 4 stents because there was blockage in the heart, but he would have avoided the heart attack. So he could have had the treatment and the surgery or the stents before the heart attack. They come in with his wife. They scan on a Monday. On Thursday, we get the results. She has kidney cancer. Okay, and listen to this, the size of a softball, no symptoms whatsoever. She had no symptoms whatsoever. And a month before her scan, her doctors told her that she had the kidneys of a 17-year-old when she had her annual physical, because through the blood work, their kidneys were functioning perfectly. So they're thinking, they're fine. You have the kidneys of a 17-year-old. Luckily, when she scanned, it was all encapsulated in the kidney, so it hadn't spread yet. So she had to have the surgery. They took the kidney out and 2 lymph nodes, because it started to spread in 2 lymph nodes. She didn't need any chemo or radiation. We had to wait 4 to 5 weeks. So I just did a podcast with him, a little testimonial, and she's like, I had to wait for the sutures to heal, and that was 100%. Now, if that would have ruptured or spread from the kidney, she would have needed chemo, radiation, and then who knows if she would have made it. Her lifestyle never changed. 9 grandkids. They have Sunday dinner every Sunday with the grandkids. They've traveled everywhere with Ernie, and she's like, if it wasn't for that scan, I would have obviously maybe not even been here. And if she waited too long, the quality of life, and that's the thing. Anybody that's gone through cancer, they'll tell you, okay, the disease is horrible, but the treatment's equally as bad, if not worse. Luckily, when people come in, and if we catch it early, they're avoiding those chemos and radiation. And we're seeing things every single day. There's not a day that we don't scan where we don't find heart disease or cancer. Every single day, 1 to 3 of our patients will have something that they need. And it's not always something major, but it's something that you need to know that's there. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm so passionate. That's why I love that. The fact that we can take this technology. And our first office is going to be in the Villages. We're opening in a couple of weeks. So we're really fired up about that. But we want to get this technology to more places as well, because everybody should have access to a preventative scan.
Oh yeah, and it's self-pay, so insurance isn't covering it yet. So that's the challenge for many people. But when you're going into retirement, why would you not, take some of those hard-earned and hard-saved dollars and make sure that you're going to have that good quality during retirement?
And that's a good question. A good question about the self-pay, because it's preventive. They're not covered by insurance, but we make it very affordable. When the patients come in. Through your podcast, we're going to offer anybody that's listening a free heart scan. When they come in, we're going to look at their heart to make sure there's no blockage, or if there is any blockage, they can get the treatment. So anybody that's listening, but they're going to meet with our patient advocate. The patient advocate's going to explain our other scans, okay? But we have a single scan price, but we also have a program, because the program is where it becomes the most affordable per scan, because the program is designed very similar to the mammogram, where women after a certain age get a mammogram every year. Because one scan, invaluable in its importance, because it's going to give, most people have never had a full body scan, so they're going to give them more information about their inside of their body that they've ever gotten. But also now, it could also give you that false sense of security. If everything comes back fine, you think, okay, I'm good. I'm not going to go to my doctor anymore. And then they may say, for 10 years, I'll be good. And something could develop the next day. Something could develop in a week. So with our program, we're scanning our patients every year. And now if anything develops from scan to scan, then you catch it super early with a higher percentage of survival. So we do make it affordable, and we have care credit. We have ways to. We don't want anybody that wants a full body scan not to get the scan. We'll figure out a way to get them in scan.
I love that. And so you're doing it from, what is it, the shoulders to the pelvis area?
Yes, ma'am. So top of the shoulders, base of the pelvis. Obviously, that we cover with a full body scan. It's a full heart evaluation, and then all the organs. 90% of the deadliest cancers develop in our midsection, and that's why we're scanning that area. We also have a virtual colonoscopy, much less invasive, more thorough than the regular colonoscopy. That's part of one of our programs as well, so we can educate the patients when they come in. Our patient advocates will educate them on the.
My biggest takeaway from all of this, I could fill a notebook up with people. Family, friends, people that I know who, had they had done this, half of them would probably still be with us. Family, I know some family who, I don't know how long this has been there, but to me, my takeaway is if you're not proactive, because I went to the doctor, I had cancer, and I didn't even realize I had to go that extra step. If you're not proactive, by the time you catch it, and that could have been me had it not been. If the scan hadn't occurred, I might not be here.
Right.
So that preventative is huge.
Did you scan on purpose, or was it a scan for something else and then?
I scanned because my wife told me to.
Okay,
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
The signs were there.
Oh, okay, but there were symptoms. Mm-hmm. So you're lucky that it was early, because sometimes by the time people have the symptom, it's too late. And that's why scanning before the symptom is where we're catching things so early, because in most accidental findings in hospitals they're scanning something else and then they find something, or if they find something early. I have a friend of mine that's a radiologist, and she's like, we find kidney cancer all the time in car accidents. Because, obviously they have to scan the back and they look at the kidneys and they find cancer that person that just had the car accident had no idea they had. So that's the most common cancer that they find early because of car accidents. Mm-hmm. Obviously with lung cancer, which takes the most lives, we cover that with a full body as well. But yeah, so a lot of people think, well, when I have a symptom, I'll go see my doctor. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to heart disease and cancer, that could be too late.
Is cancer still the number one killer, or is it heart disease? Which one?
I believe it's heart disease.
Heart disease.
It's 1 and 2. Yes, it's 1 and 2.
But most men are very hard-headed, so they don't want
I don't
to.
feel like, you're not
they don't
referring
want
to me.
to go to
yeah?
the doctor.
No, I really,
So-
no. There's probably some truth in that. Going to the doctor never appealed to me, and it was her that, I guess she did open my eyes.
Well, that's great that you listen, because a lot of times we won't listen. Guys won't listen, but that's the thing where our imaging center is not a doctor. Mm-hmm. So that's where a lot of guys are okay doing it, because like now if something's found, now I better go to the doctor because something's going on. Because if I feel good, my wife's going to tell, go see your doctor, go get your blood work. I go, why? I feel fine. Right? But then when you do have that symptom, that's when it could be too late. But if a scan like this is 4.5 minutes. We look at the whole body in 4.5 minutes. So it's not that you're wasting your whole day or...
So beginning to end, we're talking about less than 5 minutes for all this to be done.
The scan is 4.5 minutes from the top of the shoulders, base of the pelvis, and we have our machine is the latest and greatest Siemens machine, so it's minimal radiation, and it's more efficient. And now talking to our board certified radiologist, because I don't read the scans, by the way, we have a expert to do that, professional. He was telling us there's a lot of AI implemented as well, so you have that extra set of eyes. You have the board certified radiologist, but also AI, where they can also do bone density. There's so many more tests that we can do, and we're learning more about that as well as we open. But yeah, there's so many things that we can see in the body. But now that's the thing, as hard-headed men, we may not want to go to the doctor.
That should be your catchphrase, Hey, we can save your life in less than 5 minutes. And I'm excited about the less than 5 minutes because I just found out today I will be doing this, I guess, the scan.
Yes.
So I'm really got more excited. 5 minutes, hey, that's not a big deal.
No. But the one thing I want to make sure people understand is the whole consultation.
Right.
Because we're going to educate you. Because when they come in for the free heart scan promotion, a lot of people have not even gone on our website and have no idea what we scan for or how we scan or what the machine is like. So they'll meet with a patient advocate that's going to explain everything. But we get people that call in and say, I want to come in and do the full body scan. We're scheduling for the full body scan. They go in the door, out the door, and if we're busy, it might be 10, 15 minutes, but the scan itself, it's 4.5 minutes. It takes longer sometimes to change our shorts than it is to get the scan. It's very, very quick.
Well, with AI, I think everything is changing, right?
Right.
Anything technology, anything AI. And one thing that I love about using AI with the medical knowledge and tools that are out there is it's pattern, right? Like you're a kicker, so it was all about the pattern, all about the exact position, and it's wind and everything else. But it's repetition, it's the pattern, and getting that sequencing. Medical and with AI, that's what it's able to do. I think a lot of times, and you're able to see what that pattern is going to turn into. It's not about what it is necessarily today, but actually use that technology along with the scanning. Is that something that you have with Clearview?
Well, with our machine, the AI is assisting the board certified radiologist. So instead of having two set of eyes looking at the scan, AI is another set of eyes. So if AI detects something, now the board certified radiologist can confirm it. So that's, from what I'm understanding from talking to the board certified radiologist, is that the first reading is done by AI, and then they're confirming it, and then they obviously do their own reading as well. So it's
an assistant with
big
patterns.
time assistant.
Yeah.
Correct. Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. So, and with AI, they're able to do other things like a bone density. So for osteoporosis. So there's other things that the machine can do that a few years ago maybe they couldn't. And when you were asking me earlier about the technology, this technology has been around for over 25 years. There's an office in Atlanta that's been doing preventative scans for 25 years. Because they're not covered by insurance, nobody knows.
So that's the big reason that we're not utilizing that more, is just because of the expense. That would be the only thing that I could think of.
Well, there's no promotion because, obviously, the word being proactive, it's become more common in the last few years.
Because our medical system now is set up to not be proactive. It's just to treat something, not cure it.
It's reactionary medicine.
Yes.
And we've been taught that since we were little kids. If I don't feel good, we go to the doctor. I have a little fever, we go to the doctor. So we don't, as kids, we don't go to the doctor when we feel well, unless we have a school physical. Other than that, you don't go see your doctor. So we've been wired and trained that way our whole lives. Mm-hmm. Now, with this type of technology available, then you can take your health into your own hands. And the other thing, too, once something is detected, insurance does kick in to treat the rest of the exams, because now there's a reason. But if you go to the doctor and say, I feel great, they're like, why are you here? Oh, I want a preventative full body scan. They'll never do it because there's no symptom. So insurance won't cover it. But now if somebody that scanned with us and we found something, like in Cindy's case, when we saw the kidney cancer, from us detecting it to her surgery was like 2 weeks. She's like, I skipped so many appointments, so many tests, because now there's a reason to have the surgery. Mm-hmm. But if you go with, my back hurts a little, okay, well, we'll go to the first scan and the second scan. Maybe go see a doctor first, blood work. And then by the time you end up having the surgery, that could have metastasized. Where in this case, because she already knew there was something going on, the surgery was like almost 2 weeks later. So that's where it also expedites things. But insurance covers everything after our scan, because now there's a reason to go to the doctor.
I can see that changing.
And
I
how
can
long
see
do you
that.
have to wait for the results?
We tell our patients 3 to 5 business days. Usually we'll get them turned around faster than that, but 3 to 5 business days is kind of what we
So if I'm going to do this scan, is it a good idea for me to go ahead of time, go on the website, or what would be to make it so, like men, you
Yes.
don't want to be in and out. What's the easiest way to make that happen?
Well, the website can educate you more on what we do, what to scan for, what to look for. But if you call the office and say, I just want to do a full body scan, then the consultation is good to educate, because we're going to explain more of what the scanner's capability and also the program. Because the one scan, like I said, is great. The program is where more lives are being saved by the program than anything else, because things could change year to year. I have another good friend of mine where his wife had shadows in her liver. And when she went to the doctor said, those are normal size. There's a lot of people that end up having little spots in their liver. So we think they're fine. She's part of the program, thank God. A year later, with her scan, 3 of those shadows had gotten bigger. And one was to the size of a golf ball. So they had to be removed. But if she only had one scan, she said, okay, I have spots in my liver, but I'm fine. And then you ignore something that had changed. I've scanned 5 times now in the 5 years that I've been doing this. My scan has come back different every single year. Luckily, nothing serious, but just like we change on the outside, we change on the inside as well.
Sounds like there's only one simple solution. If you want to live longer, live healthier, get on a program, do this once a year, catch it early. And I think for me, we're all going to have a game in life, but I think it's quality for me. And because if you don't have that quality, and I've seen that with so many people that I have personally known, to see that quality from cancer, heart-related, to see it happen when it could have been prevented.
Right. I mean, how many times do you hear somebody retiring and then something major happens?
Too many times.
You hear it all the time. And
I know a handful of guys I've retired with that did not do anything preventative, and they're no longer here. I watched it happen.
right.
But so many are living longer in retirement than their working years. So, why not have that quality? And there's a saying, what is it? Someone who has money has 1,000 wishes, but someone who doesn't have their health has one.
Yeah, and something like this. You can have 1,000 problems in your life, but if you have a major health condition, you only have one.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
What was he worth? 400 billion or whatever it was, or billions, and pancreatic cancer took his life.
Which is another silent one as well.
This scan has picked up pancreatic cancer pre-stage 1. There was an office, the office in Atlanta saved a woman's life with capturing pancreatic cancer pre-stage 1. And pancreatic cancer is the deadliest percentage-wise, because
I just lost a friend to that.
once there's a symptom to pancreatic cancer, it's
late.
a 2 to 3% survival rate, because it's too late. And this machine, this CT scan, can pick up pancreatic cancer pre-stage 1. Has done it in Atlanta. So yes, like you said, it's life-saving, but also quality of life. Mm-hmm. I go back to Cindy and Ernie. Ernie retired in December of 2 years ago now, maybe 3 now. So the time, you know how time goes. And then that spring, he's when he had his heart attack, and that's when Cindy scanned a couple weeks after his heart attack. Because when he started to feel better, they came to scan. Their lifestyle did not change. They're living their best life now, spending time with their grandkids, traveling. Her lifestyle would have changed if she would have never scanned, because she would have either needed chemo or maybe not even survived it. So that's where for me, that's why. I mean, it's hard to tell everybody you need to scan because it's my business, but it is something that I believe in so much because I was a patient first. Mm-hmm. I went in to get a scan as a patient and then loved the concept, and that's why I want to bring this technology to as many cities as we can as a business, but also because it's saving lives. I never thought that after retirement I could do something more impactful than winning a football game. We talked about, how many people get excited when you kick a field goal or you win a Super Bowl, but how about when you save somebody's family member's life? That's priceless. Way more impactful.
That truly encompasses the American dream. You've actually lived it because you've made your future bigger than your past. And you went from the career in the NFL to saving lives, and that's a pretty amazing jump.
Can you imagine what the impact that we're doing? And I never went to medical school. So that's where again, when you talk about the American dream, we were able to bring this technology and save so many people's lives without even opening a medical book. And that's, for me, I mean, I'm not smart enough to go to medical school, so I'm glad that I'm able to do it. And I have great partners that are smarter than me, and we have obviously the board certified radiologists. We have the people in place because we're just an imaging center. We're going to give you the images, and then the doctors take over. That's another thing. There's doctors that aren't embracing what we're doing because they think we're competition. We don't compete with anybody because we don't treat. So if we detect something, now they go see their specialist, they go see their primary care doctor. They're the ones that are going to treat them and get them back to health. We're just going to detect it and see what's going on.
Now, when you do the colonoscopy.
Virtual colonoscopy, yes, sir.
Now, I've had a colonoscopy. I have to do one. I think it runs in my family. The cancer, what I have to do.
Colon cancer.
Colon cancer.
Yes.
If I do this can help guide me if I need to do that. And I hate that procedure where the
colonoscopy.
Colonoscopy, I hate it.
So we're much less invasive and more thorough. And here's why. Like the regular colonoscopy, it's a 6-foot probe. It's a camera where they're literally searching with the camera in the bends and curls of our colon. And it's a risky procedure because they could puncture the colon wall. The only downside with a virtual colonoscopy is because we're not invasively looking in there, the machine's doing the looking, we can't biopsy if there is a polyp. Now, if there's no polyps, it's by far the best way to go because now it's minimally invasive because it is about a 2.5-inch insertion. We pump air in the colon and then the machine does all the work. But so we can not only see every millimeter of the inside, even some areas where the camera can't get to because of the bends and curls of the colon. The most compelling thing about the virtual colonoscopy is that we'll be able to see the outside. If there's any cancer on the outside, we'll be able to see it. There's cases where patients have had clean colonoscopies and have passed away with colon cancer because the cancer was on the outside. They can't see it with a camera. And it seeped in because back in the day, if you had a clean colonoscopy, they said come back in 10 years.
Right.
Now they're being more proactive and they're saying 5 years. I had mine done, I'll be 50, it's 2 years ago because I had a friend of mine at 48 pass away with colon cancer. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm in the office every day, why not do it? I was going to wait till 50. I said, I'm doing it right away. Luckily, everything's fine, so I'm good for 5 years. Mm-hmm. But it's a super easy procedure. There is prep. Not as much as a regular one, minimal prep. I started prepping for mine on a Thursday afternoon, had it done 7:30 in the morning and worked all day because there's no anesthesia. So there's no need for somebody.
Now, if I started doing this, the full body, and I know this is very important, would I still need to do the colonoscopy?
Yes. Well, the virtual colonoscopy is looking inside the colon. The full body scan cannot see inside the colon and inside the stomach. So the virtual colonoscopy, yes. And then also the endoscopy for if a doctor needs to see inside the stomach. Now I think you could swallow a little camera and they could look inside the stomach. So we can only see the organs besides inside the stomach and inside the colon. The colon, obviously, with a virtual colonoscopy we can, right? But we can see the outside of the colon as well.
So some tests would still obviously need to be taken care of, and if obviously there's issues or whatever, you already have a known issue, that would make sense. But it's just prior planning pays. I mean, that's one of the things as we help people get ready to transition into retirement, whether it's an entrepreneur, a business owner, or whether it's a law enforcement officer that's going to retire. Scott retired on his 50th birthday, so that was a pretty big birthday for him.
Congratulations. I hope I can retire when I'm 50. November. Maybe I can
hurry.
Well, you said November, so you're a November baby.
Yeah.
Well, do you celebrate all month long?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well,
she does.
you should try that because I'm a November baby, and everybody I know that's born in November, we celebrate all month.
Well, we have a lot of parties because of the Thanksgiving, close. Yeah, but no, maybe I should try that. 50, yeah. I should try that.
It's
I
your
like my birthday
month.
coming and going. If no one makes a big deal of it, I'm okay with it. Let's just move on.
Right.
Especially, ask anyone when they start getting in their 60s, you really shouldn't celebrate birthdays anymore. Just be grateful.
That you're getting birthday, right?
Yeah.
Right.
No, I think it's just the opposite. I think you need to enjoy and take advantage of all
We
the
are
cake and
different
confetti
that way.
you can get. But prior planning pays, and all those milestones that come along. It could be a great birthday gift for yourself or a family member, no matter how old you are. And I think this is great what you're doing, Martín, and so great to talk with you today. Turning 50, you've got your book. I've got that. I'm going to have to read that as my next book. And
Well, I have his book. I meant to tell you.
So you're ahead of me.
I even have key takeaways from his book, or what I think.
Okay.
And I wanted to ask him,
Okay, go ahead.
you wrote this for a reason, and here's what I got out of it. To have success in life, you have to have more than talent. You have to have grit.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Yes.
And family is very, very important and strong for you.
Yes.
And that's what helped you along the way.
Well, the somewhat the purpose of the book, the being from Argentina and winning a Super Bowl, a lot of people, you need to write a book. You need to write a book.
Well, the culture, you had it, because you were from Argentina, you had that culture thing you had to overcome.
Well,
you didn't even know what football was.
Right, and the culture, obviously, the language barrier, because when we came here, we didn't speak English. There was a lot to it, but they thought it was a cool story to tell. An Argentine kid that didn't know football existed that won a Super Bowl. But there was so much more in the middle. For me, the more valuable part of the book is more, because we had parental abuse really bad as kids. You haven't got to that part yet, I'm assuming.
No.
And I don't want to spoil the book for you, but the purpose for the book was if somebody's going through what we went through or what I went through as a kid, that there's ways that you can break that abuse and you don't have to. And for me, that's why I cut ties with my father, because I didn't want my kids seeing that abuse or being part of that, because and that's, I always say, my oldest son Nico, when he was born in 2006, he saved my life, because that's when I realized when you hold your baby and you love this baby so much, I could never do the things that were done to me. So that's when I said, well, I've had to make a change. This is not right. And that's when I have two younger brothers. We made a pact. We're going to cut ties. And that was the best decision of my life. I've never been happier. And obviously, you got to have the right spouse. My wife's amazing, and she's been by my side the whole time. My younger brother, who were 7 years apart, I was like a father figure and protected him when we were kids. And now he's that super overly protective brother. He's amazing. So we have an awesome relationship, and our families are super tight because of that. So when I wrote the book, and when you get to that part, it was never meant for anybody to feel bad for me, because that's not the purpose of the book. The purpose of the book is to say overcoming, and there's a way to overcome it, and there's also help. There's people that can help you. And sadly, at our time, we didn't think we had anybody. But when I held my son, I'm like, this isn't right. This isn't normal, because you get brainwashed to think that's life, and that everybody's going through the same thing. In our case, we're like, no, this is not right.
Did your father ever try to reconnect, or did you ever?
No, his thing was more, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and this is the way I am. Deal with it. And I don't even look back. It was kind of therapeutic, but not really. People are like, oh, is it therapeutic? No, it kind of made me mad, because I'm reliving some of the stuff that I really had put in the back burner, and it's like I don't ever want to think about these stories again. But in order to tell, the whole story, you had to relive some of those, which it did help a little bit. But for me, it helped me realize how good I have it now with my wife and kids, because we have a lot of love in our family.
So you grew from that experience, and you're grateful for it.
100%, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I wouldn't change anything, because that's what made me today. And, even though it was hard, it wasn't easy, I wouldn't change it, because maybe I wouldn't spend as much time with my kids, or maybe I wouldn't coach him, since he was 3 years old. I wanted to spend every second with him, and every second being positive and being good for them. So for me, that's what made me. So I don't, as much as it was tough as a kid, it was hard, I still wouldn't change it.
Having lived in your life, and you've got a lot more to tell, but if you could go back, I don't know, 21 years old, you're at Kansas State, what kind of advice would you give yourself?
Don't let them handle my money.
That is a very common thing in athletics, and I just saw something the other day. I forgot the percentage, but a large number of these guys, they get these $40 million contracts. Well, Mike Tyson, $408 million, and he wound up being $23 million in debt, bankrupt, because you have the wrong people, I guess.
Well, in this case, it was family, which is worse. For me, I had a financial advisor that's a moron, because he should have kind of opened his eyes and let me know what was going on. But so I kind of blame him a little bit, because as a young person, you don't know, and you trust obviously your family, you trust the financial advisor that's allowing my family to take as much as they want. So on that part of it, yes, I regret that, because at times you think, okay, I could have given more to my kids, more than anything. At the time, I didn't. You're going to have a family. You're going to have kids, but you don't think about it. You're young. I went from a scholarship check that was $380 a month in college to playing in the NFL and making good money. So now I'm like, I was just thought that was it. You support your family. The thing is, it just got out of hand. Where. That's why you hire financial advisors, is to pump the brakes and, hey, listen, be smart. You have a future. You're going to have a family. I never had anybody tell me that, even though I should have known it. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's part of it. But if I do regret something, it's allowing them to give me financial advice when they had no idea, and well, they were being abusive with it, obviously.
Yeah, well, when someone's 21, 22, they have really no idea, and they always think it's going to continue to come. This
Correct.
is just the beginning.
Right.
But you never know when that's going to stop. The same thing for working. People have a targeted retirement date, but things change. Health issues come up, life changes. Maybe you're going to be let go. Who knows what's going to happen in the future, but just always prior planning ahead, and that's one of those great things. We love it when we get a young athlete who has such great potential, or a young surgeon, or just anyone, entrepreneur,
Sure.
And then just really help them understand the importance of saving for the future, because it does go quick.
Too fast. Yeah, I can't believe I have a 19-year-old. Well, we're talking about with my wife the other day. We're closer to being grandparents than even to having another kid.
Wait, it's coming. You're going to hold one of your grandkids, and you're going to flash back when it's your own.
Right.
And it's the most surreal thing to hold my grandbaby.
Right.
And she reminds me of my daughter 35 years earlier.
Wow. Yeah.
It's time.
I'm
Purpose,
not looking forward to that yet.
It will be worth it when it happens.
No, I know they have time, so I say
Yeah,
slow
don't
down,
rush it.
slow down.
Don't rush it.
Don't do it for dad yet.
Well, you're young. You're young still. Yeah, you got another 10 years probably.
I hope. They're focused on their career, but whatever happens, happens. It's part. Like I said, we'll deal with it when it. But I mean, I'm hoping. I mean, their goal is to play in the NFL. That's what my kids want to do, the boys. So if it happens, great. If not, I mean, the one thing that they can never regret is that they didn't try hard enough. They didn't work harder because they're working their butts off. So that's the one thing I always tell my kids: don't ever regret not working hard enough or not trying it, because that's the thing you can regret. It's like I should have tried this, or I should have done this. But no, if you try it and it doesn't happen,
That's great advice.
with sports or anything in life, you also have to have a little luck, because if you're not at the right place at the right time, I don't care how hard you work, you may not be able to get there.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not talented enough to get there. But as long as you gave everything you had, you can't be mad at yourself. And that's one thing where my kids, luckily, they're hard workers. And I give my wife the credit for that. She's the psycho workout great lady.
Yeah. I read a quote somewhere. I don't know who, but it just resonated with me. But as human beings, if we would just do what we're capable of, nothing more, just what we're capable of, we would amaze ourselves.
Right.
Well, it's been great talking with you.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of great memories that I have back when we were younger, that I have pictures. And look, that 2002 National Championship game, I'll never forget, your kickoff, I actually stopped breathing.
You were saying?
Because it was such an intense moment, and the Super Bowl.
Right.
And your level of excitement after you made a kick was just so awesome. And it just was out in the crowd. You could feel it, the electricity, when I was there live and you did it.
Well, I loved it. I enjoyed it. For me, that's my soccer background. I was scoring goals. There were soccer celebrations.
So no regrets not playing professional soccer instead of professional football?
No, I mean, like I said, I'm passionate. I love soccer, but to be able to win a Super Bowl, to be able to live in Tampa and play for the Bucs and still be part of it. I do the Spanish radio for the Bucs now, so I'm involved with the team still. So there's zero regrets. I do love and I'm passionate about soccer, but no regrets. I could never be that ungrateful and say I regret it, because football's given me everything.
Yeah.
So, Martín, thank you so much for your time today. Beyond the money, I mean, you've lived it. Going to be 50 this year, but what a
Thanks
great...
for reminding me every 2 seconds.
I'm
No, just
sorry.
kidding.
I'm a numbers person. I can't help it. But what a huge legacy that you've got behind you, and can't wait to hear what you're doing going forward, from entrepreneurship, from winning the Super Bowl, coaching the kids and raising your kids. And I love hearing those stories, and just look forward to taking Scott for the Clearview Imaging here in the Villages.
Yeah, and I didn't even know until, right before I saw you. I didn't know I was doing it, but, hey, look, it makes sense.
So we'll keep you posted. And
I don't know why she wants to keep me alive that long. I haven't figured that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got lots of years to go. So
The granddaughter, that's it.
The
Any
two,
more?
the two
Now?
granddaughters, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's what you got to be. Yeah.
That's reason enough.
Well, we
so.
always say, if you don't do it for yourself, do it for the ones you love.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's why you do it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So
So what an inspiring conversation. Martín, thank you so much. Look forward to talking to you so much in the future and hearing more about your next business venture.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me. And it's been super easy and fun conversation. So thank you guys for that.